Here in Australia I was born, heave away, haul away, old Australia round Cape Horn, going to Australia. Heave away, you ruler kings, heave away, haul away, heave away, you'll hear me sing, going to Australia.
My name's Cassidy Jagger, and I'm the owner of Roost to You. We're an outreach educational facility where people can come and they can learn about Australian species. On the ranch here, we have 26 marsupials, macropods. Macropod is Latin for Bigfoot, and that's what kangaroos and wallabies are. So we have 26 of them, 4 different species. And we also have bettongs, which are an endangered species in Australia. And so those are all marsupials, which means it's a mammal with a pouch. And then we have an opossum, who is a rescue, who is non-releasable. We only have one marsupial here in North America, which is the opossum. She's an excellent ambassador because they're really misunderstood. People don't really understand how wonderful they are and all of the myths about them, like can't give you rabies, that kind of thing. So those are some of the species that we have. But we also have African crested porcupines, teaching people about them. They think they throw their quills. That's a myth. They don't know porcupines do. We have fainting goats, which are really fun, you know, and so sometimes, you know, when kids come, they might not be as comfortable petting an animal that they're not familiar with. So it's nice and comfortable for them to see. We have chickens and, you know, we have a mini cow. We have Patagonian cavies, prairie dogs, quite a mix. I fell in love with the species, so that's why I pretty much chose to go in that direction. Most people can't afford to go to Australia, so this is a way for us to bring Australia to them. Welcome to the Outback! So that they can meet the species and actually touch them, feed them, learn about them, and fall in love with them and become involved in the conservation. Who's my birthday girl? Awesome.
It's my 13th birthday, and my parents know how much I love taking care of animals and being around them, so we thought this would just be a good area to go to.
It was amazing just seeing all the kids running around and be able to interact with all the animals and learn. Entices me to want to come back again.
A lot of people don't know the difference between a kangaroo and a wallaby. They're both macropods. The only difference is size and also the length of the femur. Kangaroos are larger, wallabies are smaller. They all have 3 toes on their feet, but when you look at different species, the toes may be longer because of, you know, their environment, you know, and how they use that. So they are still basically the same, but the measurements, you know, are different, or the shape may be different. This is Wart. And Wart is a joey, which again is a baby kangaroo or wallaby, and other marsupial species as well. They all have 3 toes, but depending on the species, the toes might be a different length or width, depending on the terrain that they live in and what they need their feet to do. So this is a Bennett's wallaby. They originate from Tasmania. That's why they have this beautiful thick fur. It gets cold in Tasmania, but you find them all over Australia. And there's even some wild mobs in Europe, where obviously man has brought them over there because they are indigenous to Tasmania. But we have this toe out here, which is for balance, which you can barely see on red kangaroos. And then this one in here, this is for grooming. And it can make a complete circle. And it has 2 little nails on it. They'll lick it just like a cat licks a paw, and then they'll groom with it. This long toe here, this is their defense toe. This is what nature gave them if they need to defend themselves. So this is a nice long toe. So if they need to use it, what they do is they go, again, they just use the end of that tail, lean back on the tail, put their head back to protect their face. They grab with their hands, and then they kick with their back feet. And this is the toe that they would use. Now, a large kangaroo can actually dissect a dingo with 1 kick. But remember, they are prey animals. They would rather run. That's what they do. They run, and they run fast. They can run 35 miles an hour, depending on the species. They would rather run than fight.
Going to Australia.
I'm going to show you some of the animals on the ranch. This is Jack. Jack is an Italian mare Emma. He is a livestock dog, and his job is to protect all of the animals. We do have coyotes out here, raccoons, some sightings of mountain lions. So that is his job, to protect everybody. And he'll probably follow us, so come on. Kookaburras are from Australia. They are the laughing birds of Australia. They are called the Bushman's clock because they know what's happening. Dusk and dawn, they make this wonderful laughing noise. And that's how the Bushmen used to kind of keep track of time. Okay, so these guys are carnivores. They eat mice, lizards, fish. The mice are not alive. These mice are actually bred for snakes, for birds, you know, to feed them at the zoos and pets and things like that. So you'll notice their names are Bonnie and Clyde. Clyde just ate his all down in one. Oh, there goes Bonnie. Now sometimes what they'll do, they've got another mouse here, is they'll take the mouse and they will kind of slam it on whatever surface they're near. That's what they would do in the wild to actually kill it. So they still, you know, do the same behavior that they would in the wild. Let's see who comes. Good job. Got a little tail sticking out of his, it's just stuck on there. The very first time that I went to Australia to do the, with the bushfires, you have to, obviously you're camping out, you're not staying in a hotel, you're in a tent. And in the morning, there was just this really loud noise. And I thought, oh my gosh, is this what I'm gonna wake up to every single morning, this really loud noise? What it was is the trees were full of kookaburras and cockatoos. And it's really, really loud. Well, the next camp that we went to, in the morning, it was silent. And it was silent because they had all died from the smoke from the fires going up into the trees. And now I love that noise. It doesn't bother me one bit. It's like music to hear them doing it. To know that they're alive, they are so happy, you know, here in this environment. But the ones that are out in the wild, it's a blessing because too many of them were lost. This is Elvis and Priscilla. Now, normally they are sleeping during the day. Look at those quills. So we're gonna talk about these quills. There is a fallacy that porcupines shoot their quills. They do not shoot their quills. In North America, the porcupines have little barbed, but these guys are African crested. This is more like hair here. And they lose their quills just like our hair drops out, their quills will drop out. So there's quills, you know, about. So they use this as a warning. It's kind of hard for me to get them to do their warning signs because they were hand raised. They have, if you see the tail right here, that tail actually has a rattle on it. So let me see if we can get a little rattle going, but I doubt it. Can you rattle? Nope. All right, you don't want to make them do anything they don't want to. But it sounds like a rattlesnake. It actually just kind of rattles, and that's their warning to predators or if they get scared. Can you puff? Do you want to puff? No, do you want to puff? You want treats? Okay. All right, so we're gonna give a little treat here. They love almonds. Good job. Come here, Priscilla. Come on. Good girl. Oh, that was a good almond. No, don't eat my pants. Here you go. So these guys get quite a buffet at night. Vegetables, fruit, and you'll see there's corn husks that are around here. They eat the corn cob. They eat some of the husks, but not all of them. They have to have bark, so we put branches in here so they can keep their teeth. Their teeth consistently grow, so they have to be able to wear those teeth down. So they have bark in here. We've got a cement block, and they also have bones as well to chew on. Now you'll notice there's a big hole over here, right? So this is, let me get that. This is the igloo that they sleep in. And what they do, it takes them about a day and a half, they dig a big hole. That's what they do in nature. So sometimes you'll go to the zoo and you'll see that like these guys are on concrete. We didn't want to do that. There obviously is something underneath so that they can't dig out, but I want them to be able to dig and make their little cave. That's what they do in the wild. So what we do then is we'll take the igloo twice a week, move it over to the flatland, and fill the hole in so that they can start all over again.
In the sunshine.
All right, so next we're gonna go in and visit with the macropods. I am gonna spray the bottom of my feet. We spray everybody's feet before they go into the macropods, and the reason why, some people have cats, and cats can carry something called toxoplasmosis, which is fatal to kangaroos and wallabies, macropods. But also, we walk everywhere, correct? So, you think you're walking, let's say in Walmart. What's on the floor in Walmart? Now it's on the bottom of your shoe, and then you walk in there and they eat the grass, they eat off the ground. Now they're eating whatever is on the floor at Walmart. Okay, so one of the things that these guys eat, 75% of their diet is forage. So that means grasses, hays, branches, leaves. The branches are really, really important. What they do is they strip the bark off. I like to call it like wallaby floss. It strengthens up their gums, it helps to clean their teeth. So they have to have branches every day. So they are given branches every single day. Everything is a little, we've had a drought here in Texas, so it does look a little deserty here. So this is Timothy hay. They can't have just any kind of hay. A lot of the trees here, grasses here, are not like their native grasses, so it's very specific, the trees that they can have. So we have planted a lot of young trees. In the fall, we'll be putting in mature trees. So what I'm doing, I'm just putting some Timothy hay into like a community basket here, so they can just kind of come and get it when they want to. And then I just kind of walk around and see who wants a little pile in front of them. Okay, this is Dr. Bombay, the famous tennis shoe unlacer. So these treats that we give out are Triscuits and almonds, which the almonds are high in protein. The reason that we use the Triscuits, they're very natural. There's only like 3 ingredients in them. But if you have to medicate them, sometimes you can just put it on the Triscuit absorbs the medication, and then they'll eat it, and it makes things a lot easier. So it's a healthy treat, but also it helps us as well. This is wasabi. These are Bennett's wallabies. So they originate, again, Tasmania, but they are all over Australia as well. So you'll notice that there are baby pools here in their habitats. We are in Texas, it is hot. So we change them about 3 times a day, depending on the temperatures, how often they will get in them. And they get dirty very, very quickly. So this is one way that they cool off. Some of them actually like to be hosed off with a hose, which is really cute, but some of them don't like it. So this is another way for them to cool off. It's not really terribly hot today, so you may not see it, but let me explain to you what nature has done to give them kind of like their own air conditioning. So if they were hot, they will salivate, they will lick their arms, sometimes their chest as well, and the capillaries, the skin is very thin here on their arms. Capillaries are close to the surface. It evaporates. You want another treat? It evaporates and that cools them off. So if you ever see a kangaroo or wallaby and they look like they're drooling and their arms are wet and their chest is wet, they're not sick. They're cooling themselves off the way nature intended. So now you guys are going to meet swamp wallabies. Swamp wallabies do not live in a swamp. They actually live in the forest on the east coast of Australia. They're called swamp wallabies because they have like a musky scent to them, especially the males. So we're gonna go give them some treats so you can meet everybody. And they look a little different than the Bennetts. They have this beautiful orange in them. Their noses are longer, tails are longer. So we're gonna go visit with Bindi, who has a Joey, and the Joey's got his head hanging out. We're gonna go over, yes, they do have beds in their little hutches. They're a little muddy right now, but they're animals. Come on, baby. Come on, honey, it's not that hot. I know, come on. Come on, a little bit further. That's my girl. Okay, good girl. So this is Bindi and her Joey. It's a little boy. Just his little tail is hanging out right now. Oh, there's the face. So the pouch, it is a muscle. So if she was feeling, for any reason, uncomfortable, she could just tighten up that muscle so that the Joey would have to stay inside. But then she can also relax it like this and allow the Joey to even come out if it wants to, hop in and out. So he's at an age now where he does come out, usually more at dusk, runs around, but he still stays pretty close to mama. See the beautiful orange that she has in her? Oh, this is Bonsai. Bonsai is a snack hoarder. Yes, he can be a little mean to his wives when there's snacks involved. See? This is Bella. How's the Joey doing? So we don't feed the Joey treats at this age, just gets milk. And when we visit the red kangaroos, I'll tell you all about their reproduction because it's absolutely amazing. So there's some interesting things about male kangaroos. So it's kind of hard to see right now because he's kind of hunched over. But some anatomy stuff for them. You'll notice that his chest right here is red. Sometimes it's even redder. This is a pigment and it rubs off on your hand. And what he does, he rubs it on the ground, he rubs it on the females. It's kind of like, we call it his cologne. So he's getting some almonds. And he's not really wanting to come out of the shade. Look at the size of those paws. So Rufus is 5. So 5 is when red kangaroos actually are like no longer teenagers in a way, so to speak. They start getting their muscles. He's got quite a bit to grow. So we're gonna talk about some anatomy with these guys. So parents, we're gonna get a little technical. So if you want somebody to leave the room, obviously this would be the time to do it. Or if you'd like them to learn more about them, then please do stay. Male kangaroos, so you can't see, their testicles are actually located above their penis, not below. They have a cloaca, which you can see is this area right here. It's gonna go drink, hopefully. The cloaca is a very busy section there. So this is where they defecate, where they urinate, where they mate, where the females give birth. Everything happens there. Miss Junebug with her Joey. So some of the kangaroos don't mind me touching their pouches, and some do. So here's her cloaca. So let's talk about the amazing way that birth happens. So when they mate, their gestation period is about 30 days. And then the Joey is only the size of a little jelly bean. It's born here through the cloaca and then has to climb all the way up to get up into the pouch. And to give you an idea of how far that is, it's like a human infant having to crawl the length of a football field. So it's pretty amazing. And when they're born, they have no tail, they have no back legs, they have their forearms, they have temporary claws so that they can climb. Their ears are pinned down so they can't hear. You are thieving. And their eyes are sealed so they can't see. Once they get in the pouch, there's 4 teats in the pouch. And here's the amazing thing. She only sends milk to 1 teat. So I call it an assigned teat, and you'll understand why a little bit later. Don't being a thief. Once they get in the pouch, they fuse to that teat. The skin actually grows around the mouth and the teat, and that's where they continue to grow. So the reason that we are talking about, that I call it an assigned pouch, is they can actually have 3 Joeys at once. Now, does that mean they can have twins? Yes, but that's very rare. But what they do is they'll have one joey that's in the pouch, and then they can have an at-foot joey, which means it's too big to be in the pouch, but it continues to nurse. So that one has a completely different teat. And because they're different ages, she has to make 2 different types of milk because of the protein and fat content. So she sends one kind. Seriously, guys, don't work with animals and kids. So because they're able to have those 3 joeys at different stages of growing, they can make different types of milk because they're at different stages of growth. And there's a different fat content, a different protein content. So the joey that's in there that's fused to that teat gets one, and then the one that's at foot gets a different one. But where does the third one come in? 3 to 4 days after they give birth, they mate again. Then that embryo, that goes into stasis, it goes into diapause. It doesn't continue to grow until the joey that's in the pouch becomes an at-foot joey. This is pretty amazing. Red kangaroos, they live in the drought a lot. They're able to actually control that stasis. And if they know that there's not going to be water, they can't make milk, so they can put that joey into stasis on their own. Oh, see a little tail, little pink tail. So I know you usually see these guys hopping, and they do hop a lot, and usually they hop because they're going a longer distance. But they also quadruped and do pentapedaling. So I want you to watch his tail, because what they do with this muscular tail, here we go, is they use it like a 5th leg. So he presses off with the tail, back feet, forward feet. So the majority of the time, that's how they are. But let's see if we can get a little hop. We are a business. The Educational Conservation is a nonprofit, but Roost to You is a business. And obviously the goal is to help with some of the costs to take care of them and feed them. So like I'll give you an example. Right now, a bag of food for a kangaroo is $49. And that just lasts one day. Very, very expensive. And you have your heating, you have your cooling, you have, you know, all of the things that people also don't think about. Everything has a price tag to it. It's my girl. Can I let go? Donations are very, very helpful, you know, and they can be done in a myriad of ways. We have a volunteer program. So from a financial standpoint, somebody that helps us tremendously to come and volunteer their time. We're very selective, but we do have a volunteer program. We have a list on Amazon as well. So if there's something specific, you know, that somebody wants to help us out with, they can order through there. They can do gift cards at the feed store. They can give money to the nonprofit. To us, to Roost to You, it's a tangible thing. It's a gift type thing that they would be doing. There's a lot of crazy animals in Australia that, you know, are predators for them as well. And then, unfortunately, the largest predator is man. The hunting is for meat, the hunting is for fur. It's for trinkets in a tourist shop. You know, people can help with conservation simply by looking at the ingredients in their dog food, make sure it doesn't say K-meat. When you're buying shoes, especially sport shoes and things, make sure it doesn't say K-leather. And that's one way of supporting it, by not purchasing these things. You can contact me at any time if you want to learn how you can get involved in conservation. It can be the littlest thing, you guys. It can even be a letter to the Prime Minister. Don't think that it doesn't matter because you're not living in Australia.
It's kind of a sad thing that people go out and kill them. Like, it's kind of heartbreaking.
Our whole goal is education. So we will go to public schools, and we also go to libraries. A 6-foot red kangaroo can jump 10 feet straight up in the air.
We learned about how the spine goes down all the way down to the tip of the tail.
So there's a lot of different species, and a lot of those species are now extinct. We'll never ever see them again. We actually go to Australia. We work with the bushfires there. We work with Vets for Compassion and Bushfire Wildlife Rescue and Support to help to conserve these guys. Who is their main predator? Us. We are their main enemies. So we need to change that, don't we? That's one of the reasons why we do what we do. We want you guys to fall in love with them, just as we have.
I think that we should stop hunting them and we should leave them alone because they have not done anything to us or harmed us in any way.
I mean, you can see the expressions, you know, when you explain to them that man is actually, we are their main predator. And, you know, their eyes get big and they're like, huh? How could that be? You know, because who would want to hurt these cute little animals, you know? So I know that they get it as well, too. And so it feels good to instill it in a very young age. And again, being able to be tactile and touch it, not see it on a computer screen, not see it in a book, you know. Even going to a zoo, you know, sometimes you don't even get to see the animal, you know, that you go there to see. So yeah, we really like to see their reactions with the younger kids as well. Happy birthday to you. We encourage private schools, smaller groups, homeschools to come here where they can meet all of the animals. But it's all about education, you know, and we want the children and the adults to walk away with a lot of knowledge about the animals and, you know, caring about them. They will not bite you. They will not peck you. They may want to come and they may fly near you and it can be startling, but I don't want you to be scared. I would not let you go in there. All right. Oh.
Yeah, when the bird came in like right up in my face, it startled me a little bit, but he didn't hurt me, so I wasn't worried about it.
As the sun is starting to go down, I still have 3 hours of work left with the nighttime animals. But that's the time where the kangaroos are grazing and most of the hard weightlifting stuff is done for the day. And you can just kind of, just for about a half an hour, you just kind of chill and pet them and love on them and see the kind of the fruits and the rewards. And they are very affectionate. They do appreciate what you do, you know. And so it's that one-on-one time that you spend with them that you're like, this is why you do what you do.